Hi guys, I'm Sophie and this is Carol, and we're going to answer a couple of the questions that we get about Flexg. So we talked a little bit about active methodologies and hybrid learning, and we know most of the teachers get worried about what their new role will be in the classroom. So Carol, can you tell us a little bit how teachers go about using Flexg in their classrooms?
Yes, I think at first teachers have like a weird sensation because they don't really know how to use the platform inside the classroom, and they still want to stick to the traditional methods. So they want to do this big exposition and explain a bunch of content and then skip to the exercises. And what we are proposing here is an inversion of this logic. So basically the students will access the platform prior to the classes, they will interact with the content, and they will internalize all of the information they need. And the teacher's role while using the platform is to prepare some interactions that will force, as a sort of speech, the student to use those information and contents that they have acquired previously through the platform. So we invert this logic, and we also invert the roles of teacher and student, because the idea here is that the teacher will speak very little, the least they can, and have the students speak more, because it's their time, they're the ones who are learning, the teachers already know the language. So you invert the logic and you invert the role a little bit. I don't think it's less important though. Some people seem to think it's less important. But you have to think about the interaction you're going to propose and how you're going to make your student use all those information that they have just learned. So it's a very important role. Without this role, the class wouldn't work. It's just sort of different from what we have traditionally.
So basically we just put the student on the spot and not the teacher anymore.
Exactly, because as they say, the less you're taught, the more you're taught, the less you learn.
Yeah.
So they need to practice and not listen to a lecture, I guess.
So I was doing a little bit of research to answer a lot of the questions we get, and I was reading about active methodologies, and I came across this just-in-time versus just-in-case philosophies. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. Well, just in case is the idea that you are going to give all the information there is about a certain topic to your student, and the student's basically going to store that information, like as if it had like a drawer or a closet inside their brain or something like that. And any time in their lives, they can just access that information and use it just in case they need it. So like, for example, you're going to explain like a present tense, and you just tell them all there is to know about the present tense, all the rules, all the information at once, expecting that anytime the student needs to use that structure, they'll just know how to use it, which doesn't really work like in practical terms. Yeah. And that's what we call just in case. And it's like traditional education tends to use this logic a lot. And the just in time idea goes alongside with active methodologies and hybrid learning, because it's the idea that the student will have some previous contact with some information. And as you prepare an interaction that will force the student to use this information, obviously there will be some mistakes and some questions. Like, teachers are still useful, teachers are still important, so obviously there will be little problems to fix and some parts that the student will still need the teacher's help to progress. So the teacher helps them answer their questions and corrects their mistake, but just in time, like when they need it.
When there's context.
Yes, and none further, like no more than that, no more than what is actually necessary, because the student is on the spot and not the teacher. So you'll just help them when they need your help, but let them be and let them learn when they don't need your help. So yes, again, the same idea of an inversion of the logic. So another question we get often is, I see teachers have a hard time pinpointing what is the best advantage or the main advantage of using Flexg. So what would you say is the main advantage of using Flexg?
If I had to choose one, I would say, getting from my past experiences as a teacher, is being able to teach to several different levels of students within one group. And we've all been there as teachers where you have this student that gets it right from the get-go, and then you have this one student that requires a little bit more time, a little bit more practice, and then the student that is a little bit faster gets, bored because it's taking a little bit longer. So with having a Flexg system gives you this advantage of being able to cater to all of these different students and levels. And today we talk a lot about multi-level classrooms. So this is another advantage. Have you ever been in that situation yourself?
Yes, I have actually. And honestly, the first time I heard about a multi-level class, I thought it was crazy. I thought this couldn't really work. But then I had some training and I had the experience, and I wouldn't like to go back to the traditional type of single level classes. First of all, people think it's so weird to have people from different levels together, but one, it's what we do in real life. Like, not everyone we talk to has the same level of proficiency in any language. Like, there's always a little bit of a communication gap, but we find a way to work through it. So we use body language, we use slang, like we alter our language to fit the room. So I think like students can do that when they are forced to. They find ways, and that makes them more autonomous. And like you said, even in single level classes, the students, just because they are in the same level in class, they're not really in the same level. Like, there's always going to be gaps. So I think we just have to see this as something natural. But like in terms of like a practical approach, how does it work? So you have the platform. Each student will interact with the platform with their own level, their own content. And then inside the classroom per se, like you can have an initial moment, like a warm-up moment, that just to break the ice, turn that little switch so they switch into English with the entire class. And it's fine if a low-level student doesn't understand everything a high-level student says. Like, that happens in life. If you go abroad, like, it's normal. They don't die because of that, and you can be sure. And then you can split the classes into not exactly the same levels, but around the same levels, like beginners, intermediate, and advanced. So like a pre-A1, A1 plus and A2 can be together, A2 plus, B1, B2 can be together, and then B2 plus C1 can be together. And then you can just provide them with activities that are more fitted to their levels. Yeah. And one thing that's really nice when you have the chance is if their activity like makes a final product, like a little dialogue, a little text or something, that they present it to the whole class, and the whole class gets to give feedback, because that provides a lot of peer instruction, which is really good. And the teacher just kind of goes around, provides them with the help they need just in time, with no explanations, but tries to encourage more peer instruction than teacher instruction, because when you're explaining something, you tend to learn better. And then you can have like a closure moment for the entire class too, like a mini conversation session. And it's really good because like when you're a beginner, you get to have some spoilers of what's coming.
Yeah, I feel like that is so much motivating for the students.
Yeah, like when you come across a structure as you advance, it's not totally new. It's not something you have never seen in your life. You're already a little familiar. Yeah. And advanced students don't forget basic structures because they're in contact. Because I've had like advanced students that are great at like passive voice, reported speech, but doesn't really know how to use there is, there are, and say something like, teacher, have a phone on the table. So like keeping in touch with those past structures is really good for them too. So I see it as a win-win situation. And financially speaking for teachers, like it's...
And for schools, right?
Yeah, like because you don't have to have separate times for everyone, so you can have more free time for more students. So like in terms of structure, it's amazing. So yeah, I think it makes your life so much easier. Like the students learn more, interact more. So I agree that it's a great advantage.
So that's it for today. Those are the questions that we had for now. If you have any other questions, please let us know here in the comment section on our YouTube channel. And if you want to know more about Flexg, please do not hesitate to contact our sales team. We'll be happy to let you know how it works. See you next time.
Bye-bye.